Farming families have come from all over the world and set down roots in the San Joaquin Valley. They have all found a vast landscape that is at once bountiful and unforgiving. The key to unlocking that difference is water. As drought, climate change, and now groundwater restrictions crimp access to water, things are changing. What will that mean for the future of the valley? Can small farmers still make a living? We talk to family farmers who are determined to try.
Is it a challenge? Yes, it's a challenge, but the challenges have never really set us back in terms of like, can we do this? Because we wanted to do this, we're gonna keep doing it.
They explain how they and their families came to the valley, what they've made here, what the future holds, and the role of water through it all.
This project was made possible by a grant from the James B. McClatchy Foundation and all SJV water donors.
I try to be caring because that's essentially what drives the farm. We all feel that we're doing this not for us, but for the society as a whole. That always gives me the motivation to keep doing what I'm doing because I'm enjoying it. And so does my family. Like, we work late hours and we do give a lot of our life to this because we've turned it into a lifestyle as opposed to just a career, just a job. Is it a challenge? Yes, it's a challenge, but the challenges have never really set us back in terms of like, can we do this? Because we wanted to do this, we're gonna keep doing it. Okay. Oh, this is okra and an okra here as well. We're gonna go all the way down there where the sunflowers are. So that's what I'm gonna harvest right now. And we have corn, we have tomatillo, we have the Armenian cucumbers, we have the peppers on your right. We're still waiting on other things to come into season, like our green beans again. And then I come in and just choose the best ones. My parents, they're originally from southern Mexico, from the state of Oaxaca. They came here in the late 80s, I believe. They started to acquire knowledge of where to source fruits and vegetables, and then they had a market base, so they knew where to sell it. At that point, they weren't farmers yet. Little by little, through word of mouth, they discovered that there was something called the Central Valley that started off down in Mettler, Bakersfield, and on a whim, they started to travel north from LA because LA was home base for us. Once they started to discover the farming world that was beyond the mountains of LA is when they started to get to know a lot of farmers, ranchers. They started to make friends and connections that would steer them in the right direction of where to buy wholesale produce, and then they would do the harvest themselves, and then they would go back to LA, distribute it, come back the next day. It wasn't until years later, maybe 15, 12 years, around that ballpark, that they kept traveling more and more up north to, like I said, started off in Bakersfield, and then little by little they're like, oh, there's something called Early Mart, you know, a little town, and then they're like, oh, there's Lindsay, and then there's Porterville, there's Exeter, and it just kept traveling north and north from there. I don't know exactly what went through their mind that they should start a farm, but they did. And that's pretty much how they started to look into, I guess, opportunities. This came up and purchased the property. And what we're standing in now, it was blank slate. I was intermingled whether I liked it or not, because it is a family-run business. So when I would see them sell fruit, I would sometimes help, you know, here and there, like attracting customers, just like shouting out, oh, we have watermelons, or oh, we have this. But from there on, yeah, we would come and harvest. I would hand them boxes. I would help them pack. So it was all throughout my years. I finished then my master's a few years ago, and then came back to Reedley because I was doing my education down in LA. And so coming back to the valley, the farm stand was being built out of serendipity because I didn't know my parents were building a farm stand. And so when I came into back to the farm, they were planning to renting it out to a friend. And in my mind, it was like, well, I've been doing farmers markets. I was like, I could do it. So I just threw it out there to them. I was like, oh, I could do it. And then whether they liked it or not, I did it. I kind of just took over silently, and I gave it a name to it because I felt that it needed to be identified instead of just a generic farm stand that's just out in the country. I thought of the name to make sure that it was something attractive or something that had a ring to it. And little by little, I started to do my own thing with flowers. So I started to do flower farming. Then I integrated vegetables and herbs. And then since my parents had the fruit already, everything came together little by little. I've made it a point to be really active in social media so that if people wanted to order, that they could have easy access to me. Hello everyone, how's it going? It's Liset here from Sweet Girl Farms. We're out here at the farm stand. Yes, we are open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the weekends. So come out and visit us. We're part of Alta Irrigation District, and then we have the ditch here next to the farm as well, so we can have surface water and then the well. So in that sense, we have a little bit of both. So last year, the well that distributes water to the house, that one went dry. We had crops connected to that one. All of the crops did die because that happened, and we had to readjust to be able to now have the ag well support home and ag. So that was definitely an adjustment because we were like a couple months like that. It just took us, I guess you can call it an emotional toll, because just to have put so much labor into planting some of the vegetables on the other side of the farm as well. While doing that, we had to adjust our living situation, like our personal living situation, as to where we were gonna wash up after work, get our clothes washed, and just like the things that you wouldn't, or that we take for granted on a daily basis. The biggest concern is, like, obviously that our own well would go dry, but then just thinking a little bit deeper how the distribution of water takes place, or for me, trying to get educated more on how to acquire water, because fighting for water seems kind of odd to me. that stays. I didn't choose to go into farming because I wanted to. It kind of chose me because like it was a guarantee that I was going to move here because I had an accident while I was in LA, and I was out there by myself. So then my parents kind of took me in to help me out, yeah, to get back on my feet and find my path again with my career. I started to see flower farming as a way to do something that I would like, as opposed to what was already going on with growing the fruit, because my parents were growing the fruit and I just didn't see myself doing that. So the flower farming was a very good way to be introduced into ag for me. I feel that it's also very uplifting for people that are having like hard times, like mentally, emotionally. That's how I got out of my depression. It was through sowing seeds, being able to be my own physical therapist, and like move my hands, because that's what a lot of my accident had to do with. It disabled my hands. So that's how I recovered my sensation in fingers and in the hands and the arms. It was through that. So even the flowers themselves, sometimes people might undermine their value. They're like, oh, they're gonna die if I buy them, whatever. They only last a few days and then you toss them away. But for me, it carries much more meaning, yeah, than just the beauty. Reedley College has an aviation program. I'm like, how cool would it be to be a pilot? Like, I could do that. I still want to be a doctor. That was always my dream as a little girl. So I'm still taking courses. I still want to do farming. I want to do so many things. Do I want to be in ag? Absolutely. Do I want to be in other things? Absolutely.